Lord Jesus Christ, and welcome to St. Cyril Methodius Orthodox Church. I'm the pastor, Father Gregory, and welcome. It's good to see you this afternoon. It's about 4:15 here in Mad City, Wisconsin, and we'll be having Vespers in about 45 minutes, but I just wanted to give you a heads up, let you know what was coming. It's been quiet here, thank God. It's even been a little cool. My wife and I got our back deck finished, which was very nice. Now we just need to finish the landscaping. It's always one thing after another. As I was driving in to Vespers this morning, I was listening to the news, as I often do, and I was really quite taken, as frankly as I have been for the last several months, about the amount of dissension that I hear when people argue back and forth about how to respond to COVID-19 and at the moment about wearing masks. It's interesting. What I hear on the one side is a really strong moralizing message that you really ought to wear a mask. Everybody needs to wear a mask all the time. And I'm not really sure what the science of that says. I don't really know if we need to have 100% compliance 100% of the time. Certainly, at least in Wisconsin, there are exceptions made for people who aren't able, for one reason or another, to wear masks. So clearly, it's not 100%, 100% of the people, 100% of the time. But what that actual percentage is, I'm really not sure. And because I think people lack that clarity, they tend to see every instance of someone not wearing a mask as an immediate threat to their health and really their lives. And that I think is clearly an overreaction. It isn't a matter that if I run into someone who isn't wearing a mask, my life is, by virtue of that fact, at risk. So why do we do that? Why do we overreact like that? Well, I think we overreact because we're not really used to thinking in terms of practical wisdom, prudence, but rather in very simplistic black and white terms. It might seem ironic that something like wearing a mask would become a black and white thing for people, but in fact it is. Of course, on the other side, we have people who are absolutely convinced that wearing a mask will result in the death of the republic. And again, it's that same kind of simplistic black and white thinking that if you do this, everything is going to end. Actually, if you think about it, you step back for a moment, both sides, those people who are in favor of wearing masks, those people who are opposed to them, sort of agree on the same thing, that if you do this one thing, or don't do this one thing, as the case may be, everything's going to fall apart. The fact of the matter is things are not going to fall apart. That doesn't mean you shouldn't wear a mask. That's fine. Wear a mask. I think that's it's like I said before. It's a minor inconvenience. And if the republic is going to fall apart because people are wearing masks, well, then maybe the republic isn't really worth preserving. What's happened is, like I said, is that lack of practical wisdom, prudence. Not everything that is good admits to the kind of clarity that I would sometimes want. It's really easy to know there are some things I shouldn't do. I shouldn't take an innocent life, for example. But wear a mask, not wear a mask, these things admit to a lot of variables. And the fact of the matter is, I don't really know all the variables in my own life, much less yours. This is why that idea of practical wisdom is important. But also, I think that we have that we look at life with the vision of God. I was speaking earlier this week with someone about environmentalism, and one of the points I made is that so much of environmentalism, or the environmental movement, sort of lends itself or gives itself over to sort of apocalyptic concerns, as if we don't do X, Y, and Z, the entire world is going to end, the human population is going to be destroyed. As a Christian, I know that I'm not going to destroy the world. I know humanity is not going to destroy the world. The world will continue until such time as God chooses to return in glory. Same with my death. I will die when God chooses for me to die, and I will die according to his will. What kills me in the empirical sense will be for God to determine, not me. That doesn't mean we shouldn't take prudential steps like, wear a mask. Got my mask here for when people show up. But it does mean that we need to step back and to understand that our lives are in the hands of a God who loves us. Again, that doesn't mean we shouldn't act prudently. We should. But I think if we understand that and entrust ourselves to God, we are able to respond to events with a kind of docility, not passivity, but the ability to see events that we find less than ideal and not have our peace and especially our charity for others disturbed. So, my friends, this is what I pray God gives you in the coming hours and days and weeks and for the rest of your life. That spirit of docility, of gentle acceptance, not agreement, not moral indifference, but the ability to accept life as it comes to you without losing your peace and without losing your focus on Jesus Christ. In fact, we have that docility, we have that peace, we have that ability to be charitable to the degree we fix our minds and hearts on Jesus Christ. So maybe that's a better thing for me to hope for you. May you have an ever deepening faith and attachment to Jesus Christ, and that you come to trust ever more in his will. Well, like I said, Vespers tonight at 5 Central Time, and I hope you have an opportunity to join us. If not, well, maybe we'll see you tomorrow morning for liturgy at 9:30. Till then, God bless you and have a good evening, and we'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.